What up, what up, what up? Yo, Lloyd, thanks, bro. That's what it is. Yeah, that's the piece I just started the other day. That's an underpainting in there. So you start with your drawing, and then you do your underpainting. Oh no, we're going all in the wrong order. First, you start with your drawing, and then I outline the image and tone the canvas. So you go from step 1 to step 2. Step 3 is actually doing your underpainting and getting a nice dark first layer of paint down, and then your final painting after a few layers of adding your midtones and your highlights. You come out with a pretty decent painting like that. So yes, I do start with an underpainting. It is the proper way to start an oil piece. I painted for years by myself before I met my mentor, and that was one of the main things that my mentor showed me is like you have to go in stages. Everybody's not Bob Ross. We're not gonna do a whole painting in 30 minutes with one layer of paint. It don't fucking work like that. If you want it to look nice, you go in stages. You draw, you prep, you underpaint, and then you do layer of paints on top of that, which is fat over lean. And depending on how detailed you want your piece to be, normally I'll put 3 or 4 layers of paint on my canvas before I consider it to be done. So it is a process to it, and most people think you can just jump right in and be like, oh, I'm done in an hour. Like, no, no. Yeah. So yeah, what I outline in tone in acrylic. So yeah, this is acrylic. The black is acrylic, and the raw sienna is acrylic. And so this is the only portion I use with the acrylic paints, unless I'm doing an entire acrylic painting. But for my oil paints, I'll just use acrylics on this portion of it just because it dries fast. And as soon as this dries, you can start on your underpainting. Yo, what's up to the YouTube? So I'm doing a dual stream right now. Yeah, and that's the main thing, like the layering process and the drying time. You know, you gotta apply a layer and let it dry before you can apply the subsequent layers. But that's what make an oil painting looks like an oil painting. And you can tell the difference. And I love when acrylic artists see my work, and people who work with acrylics, they know their medium, they know how it works, they know the applications of it, and they'll look at my paintings and still ask me, is that oil or acrylic? Like, motherfucker, you know that's oil. You know that's oil. Why you even asking the question? Is that oils or acrylic? Does it does it look like acrylic? No, it doesn't. Okay, it's not then. And then it's not acrylics. But this piece I'm working on now, I'm applying the third layer of paint to it. Mostly, her face and her lips mostly have a third layer to it. I'll start working on her torso, her shoulders, and her hand next. Trying to get a third layer of paint on there, make it look good. But I got to do her ear too. But that piece is gonna look nice. It's gonna be hot, son. She gonna be hot, for real. Smoke break. Now, like I was saying, out. I got some new stuff. Ooh, 40% off any regular price item through the 20th. I might have to save this. I might have to go shopping again. 40% off. Hit up Michael's early in the morning. As soon as they doors open, I was right there. They open at 10, I was there at 9:58, waiting. They're looking at me like, hello, security? There's some black guy in the parking lot. He's been sitting there for like 5 minutes. I'm not sure what he's gonna do. Artist. Anybody trying to rob this place? Then it was like, And so it's early. There's only a few employees there. They're still trying to get their shit together and count their drawers and do all their little prep and setup stuff for the day. And so I'm back on the paint aisle, and I press the service button, like call for help, because the paints that I buy, they're not just out. These are the paints that are locked behind a little glass case because they're so fucking expensive. So like all the other paints are just sitting there staring me in the fucking face like, buy me, buy me. And I'm like, nah, I'm trying to get this shit out the case. So I'm pressing the service button. Please come help me on our oil paint. And nobody comes, right? Like, maybe like 5 minutes. I'm a 5 minute type guy. I like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a nice number, you know. So I wait about 5 minutes. Press the little service help me button again. Like another 5 minutes go by. And it's like, all right, I'm starting to waste my time. So I walk up to the registers, and like I say, they're just opening up. There's only one cashier there. I'm like, yo, I need help on the paint aisle. What kind of paint? The oil paints. Do you need something out of the case? If I didn't need something out of the case, I wouldn't need your fucking help, yo. So, yeah, I do. I need something out of one of the cases, please. And then, so we get to the case. The girl opened up the case. And she kind of like stands in front of it like, which color do you need? Excuse me. Let me see for myself. Which ones do you need? Like she was gonna pick them out for me. I'm not sure yet. I was absolutely sure because I took a picture of the tubes that are starting to expire so that I can replace them and have reserves. But that ain't none of your damn business. I'll pick my damn paint myself, bitch. Just because you work here, you don't know all the colors. I can say cadmium blue hue, and you'll be I'll find it. Move to the side. So, and then they didn't have a few colors that I wanted actually. So as you guys can see, yo, Lloyd, you still in here, bro? I'm about to try to check something real quick, like doing the experiment. But as you guys can see, let me put this camera. These tubes are fucking slim. There's like paint like right in the chubby part to the top. There's still a little paint in there, but that's almost empty. You know what I'm saying? That has a little more, but like it's more than halfway done. That right there is, bro, that shit is slim. Slim pickings. So all these tubes right here, before they're gone, that's slim and curled up. Ooh, good question. Yo, go to the yo, come to my YouTube channel, bro. Cause you don't know one in here. I'm about to turn the stream off, and so I can listen to something on YouTube. But right now, I'm live on YouTube. The camera is better, and I'm pretty sure the link. I just spit on my own lip. I think the link is in on my page for my YouTube channel, and if not, my YouTube channel is just my regular name, Travis Prince. It's so easy to find. So let me turn this off and come over to YouTube, and when you jump in here, I'll tell you how I met my mentor, yo. All right, I'm out. Yeah, but all these tubes are done. Like, so I had to go, had to go replenish these damn colors. Y'all got 7 tubes of paint, $98. Yo, yo, and that's with a discount. That's with the 40% off one regular item, but she said somehow it took a little bit of percentage off of all of them. And so that's like with some kind of store coupon discount. That shit still was $98, but 7 tubes of paint, yo. I ain't gonna lie, yo. The goddamn, yo, this cerulean blue, yo, the shelf price for this tube of paint right here. What you think it is? And this ain't no big tube of paint. I got big tubes of paint. This is a little teeny tube of paint, yo. This shit right here is 1.25 ounces for an ounce of paint. How much y'all think this shit costs right here, yo? I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. Yo, Lloyd, what's good? Yo, Safeties, what's up, man? All right, Lloyd. Not 98. $94. Yo, yo, that tube of blue paint. Yo, that shit is $38 fucking dollars, bro. $38 for that. That ain't really nothing. I got this other brand, like, and this is just for the pigment. So what you're paying for is the pigment. No, they're not. But cheaper paints have just a filler in it. You know what I'm saying? It's oil, so the oils are really are basically the cheapest part of oil paint. So all you got to do is start off with a standard linseed or cottonseed oil and the pigment. But cheaper paints have a filler, whatever they may use to stretch out the color, and they'll have oil, filler, and then some pigment in it. But these right here have very, very, very little, if any, filler and a really high pigment content. So that's why they cost so much. And for some reason, just certain colors are harder to make than others, I guess. But this cerulean blue is, it's so pretty for skies and water. It's like, it's that nature blue that just looks really, really fucking nice, yo. Yeah, you can't sacrifice, and that's the thing, like, and that's only if you want to do this shit like I do this shit. Like I'm constantly producing art, and so I want to have the highest quality product that I can produce. Um, if it's just for fun, like a paint and sip or something like that, or a weekend class or something, you may not use the best materials to create a project or a piece of art with, but it still can be a beautiful painting, and it'll withstand the test of time and last. But I switched to this company because they have a wider range of colors, and they have a higher pigment content in their paints. You just pay a little bit more for it. So thank you, bro. As I just sold a piece this weekend. I actually have to drop it off this evening. So this is sold. This is no longer my painting. This was the last piece I did to the Reader series, just because I had to find the right guy to model for this piece, because this is my favorite book of all time. Uh, it's a really, really excellent read. Black on Black Violence, the psychodynamics of black self-annihilation in service of white domination. And so I met this guy at the gym and asked him if he'll model for me, and it took us a couple months for our schedules to get organized, but we finally met up, and like, the photo came out good, the piece came out good. Uh, it's really textured. I use the knife for the entire background on this, and it's actually one of my. You can see how textured it is. It looks like an actual wall, you know. Like, that texture is chunky. And I use a lot of paint doing that, and that's why I'm always trying to keep up on my paints before they run out. Yeah, but the whole background is like that with that texture. Yeah, so this is actually one of my favorite pieces because it is my favorite book. So I'm feeling some type of way about giving this shit up. I ain't lying to you. I ain't even gonna lie. I swear to God, I might paint this shit again. It's gonna look completely different. That's the only thing. Like, you can't do the shit twice the same way, yo. You just really can't. But I try, goddammit. Shit. I really, really, really enjoy this piece. friend Lloyd asked me how I met my mentor. So I started painting in 2009, and just out of sheer boredom one day. Like, but it was like this boredom. I still can't really explain this shit. It felt like I was about to goddamn die, yo. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was the weirdest, like, mind fuck this one day. Cause when I dropped out of high school, damn, this is a long ass fucking story, but we got time. It's Sunday. Y'all ain't in church, is it? Why the fuck y'all ain't in church? We'll come back to that. So, man, I dropped out of high school, motherfucking moved to Philly, just running the streets, being a dope boy for like years. Like, right out of high school, I was like, fuck school. I'm a man. I can handle my own. Average knucklehead shit from a young male who doesn't have a dominant role model to show him the proper course in life, and I was just wilding out, you know what I'm saying? So when I left school, I was like, fuck everything. So I'm trying to sell drugs and be a rapper, you know what I'm saying? I'm the next Lil Wayne, and I did that for 10 years. Obviously that didn't come to fruition, so I wound up moving back home to South Carolina, and I was home for a couple years, and like I was good. I was chilling, you know what I'm saying? Had a crib, had a car, had a job, had a little side hustle, you know what I'm saying? Still trying to mess around with the music a little bit, but like one day, yo, I was at home by myself. I got up that morning and goddamn just got ready for the day, you know what I'm saying? Shower, get dressed and all that shit. Then I sat in the living room like, what the fuck I'm gonna do today? And I don't know, yo, it seemed like I sat in that spot for like 2-3 hours thinking like, what the fuck am I gonna do today? But I said, I really can't explain it, yo. This fucking boredom just hit me like, I ain't wanting to do none of the regular shit. Y'all had big screen TVs and the video games. I ain't felt like playing games. I ain't felt like smoking. I ain't felt like hanging with no girls. I ain't felt like freestyling with the homies. I ain't felt like doing nothing, yo. I didn't feel like doing any fucking thing. Then all of a sudden, yo, that shit just popped in my goddamn mind like, nigga, you can draw. And then I asked myself, like, you know what? I can draw. Then I thought to myself, when was the last fucking time you drew something? And I couldn't fucking remember, yo. Before I jumped up, I grabbed my goddamn keys, hopped in the car, I went straight to the goddamn art supply store. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I got in the store. I'm about to get me a sketch pad and some pencils and shit. I can go home and draw. That shit'll give me something to do. So I had the sketch pad and pencil in my hand. I'm still walking around the store. Then I see the paints and the brushes. I said, damn. I'm about to get some paint. So I seen this a Bob Ross starter paint set. You can't really tell it, but it's still my fucking Bob Ross knife, the paint knife that came in my very first paint set 10 years ago. Had this shit for 10 years. So I got this fucking paint set, and I got a little teeny ass canvas. That shit was like a 12 by 14. Paid for that shit. Got back to the crib. Set that shit on the living room table like, yeah. Like, now what? Like, now what you gonna do, nigga? I said, I'm about to paint something. I gotta paint something. But I'm gonna paint. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna paint. Yo, And right at that time, I had just got the Afro Samurai DVD. So I don't watch Afro Samurai like 3 times already. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna paint Afro Samurai. So I motherfucking got the damn DVD case, set that shit down. I'm drawing this motherfucker out on the canvas, like, yeah, man, that shit look good. Nigga, you can still draw, boy. Oh, shit. I open up them damn paints and brushes. Man, I paint that shit, man. Paint Afro Samurai, yo, that shit felt good as hell. I was like, yo, that shit hot, yo. To me, at that time, that shit was hot. I'm like, nigga, I gotta do this again. So I went and got a little bit bigger canvas. And there's this other game called Fear. So I took the video game, right? And I paint the dude from the video game called Fear. And I'm like, nigga, you good. Look how hot this, man. Look how hot that shit is, son. Bruh. Boy, that shit started clicking in my brain. My bad, guys. So, I'm gonna have to explain this real quick. So, I went to the gym this morning. I drank like almost 2 liters of water at the gym. I came home and I had a big ass protein shake. So, I'm gonna be pissing for like the next hour. Let me go to the bathroom again. So after I paint the dude from Fear, I got a little bit bigger canvas. And then I paint this other video game called Heavenly Sword, right? That's when I was just signing my shit like that. So I paint Heavenly Sword. I was like, nigga, I'm too good. I'm the best at this shit, son. But like for the first year or so, that's all I did was like, I don't know, man, just video game shit. Motherfucking the covers for Call of Duty. I did this one hot ass painting of Max Payne. I did this this one painting from this video game called Wet. That shit was hot. I did like just some comic book shit. And I don't know, my job in South Carolina wound up getting fucked up with the housing recession and shit, and everybody was laid off and shit. So I'm sitting around on unemployment for damn near a year, yo. And I wound up talking to my aunt in Virginia, And she was like, yo, you might as well just come up here and try something different if you ain't got nothing popping down there. So I was like, alright. So I moved to Virginia. You know, shit, as soon as I hit the state, I'm trying to figure out everything, like the little city we in, where everything at, where the art galleries at, you know what I'm saying, where the museums at. So my uncle, me and him, we ride downtown Fredericksburg, Virginia. Anybody know that shit? Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's it's we didn't live there. We were living in Stafford, Virginia, but it's like it's real North Virginia, yo, not far from DC. Quantico, it's like Stafford, Quantico, Crystal City, and DC, all up in that area, yo. So down. So we over in Fredericksburg, riding around, uh, talking to all the galleries, and then there's this. We couldn't really find nothing one day, and so then another time I went around there, and I went to this one place called the Pawn Shop, but it was spelt weird. The dude last name was Pawn, but and I was asking him like, yo, you mind if I put some art in here? Because it was like kind of a skateboard type shop, like some hipster shit. He was like, well, normally I only put my own art in my shop. And he told me I should go to Liberty Town because they always have local artists having their shit on display. So I went to this gallery in Fredericksburg, Virginia called Liberty Town. And I'm walking through there looking at all the art and stuff. And then it's a big ass 2-story gallery, yo. And like the first floor is one, two, like 3 showcase areas, and then after that, the rest of the gallery on the first floor and all of the gallery on the second floor is artists' workspaces. So they have like residential artists, and you can check out everybody's own personal like little area. That shit is hot how they got it set up. So I'm walking through there, you know, looking at going in all the artists' little workshops and stuff. And I stop at this one spot. Yo, this dude, his shit was too crazy. Yo, my man shit was like out of all the artists in there, I was like, I wish I could do my shit like that, yo. Yo, that shit is hot, yo. And I'm sitting there staring at his shit, yo. Man, eyeballing this shit, and like when I examine art, like I examine that shit. I take my glasses off and get close to it. I want to see the brush strokes. I want to see what colors you're blending and how you apply your shit to the canvas. And so while I'm looking at the art, the dude walks into the shop. He's like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm Bill. This is my art." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, "Oh, hey, I really like your stuff, man." And he's like, "Are you an artist?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What do you do?" I said, "Oil paint." I was like, "These are oil paintings." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, you got some of your art with you?" I said, "Hell yeah." Before I ran outside to the damn car and snatched this fucking painting. No lie. I had this painting and that Max Payne painting. I had this shit forever, yo. It's an old ass painting. Uh, um, Yo, what's up, guy? But yeah. So I ran back inside the gallery with like 3 paintings, and he was looking at them. Now he examining my shit. He like he's like yeah, I can't remember the first question. He's like, you freehand drew these? I said, yeah. And he looking at it, Said, what kind of paint you using? I said Bob Ross. I said, okay. He said, what is this? A comic book or something? I said, no, it's a video game character. He's like, yeah. He's like, he's like, you're pretty good, man. He's like, you should really stop copying other people's work though, and just like come up with your own stuff. And I was like, okay. He's like, look, dude. He's like, I give a class here at the gallery because they have a like a classroom too, where any of the residential artists who have a space there, they can utilize the classroom, you know, schedule it off, whatever. But he had a class 3 nights a week, um, Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And he was like, how about you come to my Friday class? And he was like, and just come sit in my class and check it out if you don't have anything to do. You know, he's like, just come check it out and see if you like it. He's like your paintings look pretty good, man. He said obviously you taught yourself how to paint, but he's like, so I can't teach you how to paint. But he said I can teach you a different way of painting. But he's like, just come to one of my classes and see if you like it first, and if you do, we'll talk about it after that. So I'm like, all right, I can do that. I'll come to your class, and then so I go to his class that Friday, and I come in, and he introduced me to all the students. He had like 12 students, yo. And they was shit had like apple juice and orange juice and strawberries and a cheese tray, and they was playing some music, and everybody got their little easels and shit. He's like, hey everybody, this is Travis. He's gonna sit with us today and check out the class. Everybody like, hey Travis. It was like a feel good vibe. I was like, okay, so I sat down. I'm just looking, I'm looking. Then he comes, and he plops a canvas in front of me, right? And then he pulls out this little, like, goddamn tutorial display. And this isn't his, but I told him, like, when I started doing this, I was like, yo, uh, I'm gonna copy the way you taught me how to paint. He was like, go for it, dude. So essentially, I recreated a damn near the exact same photo that he gave me, and he says this is the picture that I have all my students paint for their first project. Here is, I want you to be able to understand this and be able to paint this image, and then after this project we can paint whatever you want to paint. He didn't say all of that immediately right then, but that's how it went. So he had a bowl of fruit, and he had a painting very similar to this. It was a bowl of fruit on a wooden table with a cloth in the background. And so he set the canvas down in front of me, and he pulled up a paint palette and started squeezing paints. And I was like, I thought I was just gonna sit. I was gonna just observe today. He's like, if you're gonna be here, dude, you might as well do something. You'll get bored if you're just sitting here not doing anything. So he was like, look, what I want you to do is, and he explained the fucking underpainting. The first day in class, that's his tutorial. He was like, you need to tone your canvas. And he said, I can see in your art that you haven't been toning your canvas because you can see the canvas through your paints. And he's like, it makes your colors look dull. So he walked through this whole explanation of why you prep your canvas the way you do and why you do an underpainting. And that was our first class. And he said, make an underpainting. It's gonna be dark, it's gonna be muddy, it's gonna be ugly. That's how it's supposed to look. And my process when I was drawing and painting by myself is this shit gotta be hot from step one to the last step, nigga. What do you mean, like, make an ugly painting, a dark painting? Like, that shit don't make fucking sense to me. To make it dark, and then I just gonna make it light again when I could just make it light to start with. But I did what he told me to do. And then at the end of that class, it was a 2 hour, he gave a 2 hour class. Uh, we wrapped up, we cleaned up everything. He was like, all right, guys, all right, Travis, I'll see you next Friday. And I'm like, all right, I'll see you next Friday. So I came back next Friday. And, you know, a whole week later, the canvas had enough time to dry. He was like, now look, we're going to apply the second layer of paint. And he walked me through the how to apply, which is, an, in essence, your first layer of paint. Your second layer of paint is kind of like your first layer of paint. And your underpainting is a layer of paint, but it's just your underpainting. It's kind of weird how I think about it like that, but he walked me through the process of applying that next layer of paint, why we do it this way, why you make your underpainting so dark. And so we worked through that second class, and then at the end of class he was like, all right guys, everybody have a good week. Travis, yo, I'll see you next Friday. And I'm like, all right, we'll see you next Friday. And exactly. And so that third time I went to his class, like before class started, I was like, yo, my man Bill, come here, let me holler at you. I was like, bro, I done been here for like 3 classes. I want to continue to do this. I'm not trying to like slide out or nothing. I like this. I like your critiques and I like what you're showing me. But how much are you going to charge me? Because and I want to start paying now, so I'm not, 5 classes in, and then you want a big chunk of fucking payment from me at one time. He's like, yo, 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 trap. He's like, calm down, dude. He's like, I do pretty good with my art in my classes. He's like, I do okay. If one or two of my students don't pay for classes, it's not a big deal to me. I'm not going to charge you for these classes. You don't need to tell anybody that you're not paying me for classes. But he's like, the way you can pay me for these classes is continue to paint. Don't stop painting. He's like, you got it. Whatever it is, you got it. Just let's work on it and build this shit. And I took his class for almost 2 years, every Friday. And then it got to the point where, like, it was just his critiques. And I would do a painting, and, and when it's done, he'll look at it and he would tear that shit up. He's like, yo, that shit looks good. It looks good. But, like, this area, it's kind of muddy. I can see you blended too many colors together. This right here could have been a little bit darker, and you should have used blue instead of black. This right here it could have been way brighter with the highlights here, and you could have added more detail to make this look realistic. But other than that, it's not a bad painting. And then I remember, like, the first painting, and I'm like a year into it now, like the first painting that I did, and he didn't say anything. When it was done, he was like, it's beautiful. He's like, it looks good. And I was waiting for, like, he's like, nah, it looks good. I was like, okay, all right. That's what I've been doing. And then, like I said, I still stayed for a while. It was getting awkward after that. I don't know. Like, some students were like, oh, well, show me how to do it like Travis does. I can remember the first time that shit came up, and then me and Bill looked at each other, then looked at the person who said it. Was like, what do you mean? Like, have your own style. Yours not supposed to look like mine's. And it was like, show me how to do it the way Travis does it. No. And I don't know. Then after like really towards the end, a lot of people just kept trying to compare their art to mine. And then I go through that phase too. Like I had to literally unfollow some of my favorite artists for a while because every time I'm looking at their art, I'm comparing my art to them, and it's like the worst thing you can do. And I don't know. And then eventually I wind up moving to here to Pennsylvania where I'm at now anyway. And so that was the main reason I stopped going to class because I don't live in Virginia anymore. But yeah, that's how I met my mentor. I moved to Virginia, looked for a gallery. This guy was like, "Yo, I teach classes," and he let me take his classes for free for almost 2 years. And the only thing I have to do is just keep painting. And this year is my 10th year that I've been painting. I made it a decade, you know. No telling, like, how long would it have taken for me to produce a piece of art with the quality that I can now if I hadn't met him. I think that I would have continued to progress my own style and technique, but like I don't know, just he just told me the simplest common sense things. He's like, dude, stop copying people's stuff. Get a camera, take a picture, paint your own fucking picture. Okay. And then he broke down a painting, and he broke down the properties of oil paints and why you don't mix so many colors and why you apply layers instead of trying to put every color on one layer. And he just guided me through, a series of projects that I did after that and showed me where I was fucking up every time. And like I can finish a painting and I can look at it and be like, that's hot. And he'll look at it and break that shit down. And then after he says it, then I can see what he's seeing. It's like, because he was never wrong about any of his critiques on my pieces, but I couldn't see it until he showed it to me. And then when I look at it through his eyes, I'm like, oh, okay. You right, you right, you right, you right, you right. Okay, okay. I'll do it better next time. And the next time. And the next time. And 100 paintings later, my shit is immaculate. It's stupendous. It's terrific even. You know? My shit's so straight, it's perpendicular. So let me start. Oh, I try to share it, bro. I always try to share. Because people get discouraged but everything takes time. Like I said, I know artists like who I look up to and I look at their work and it's like, but they've been doing it for 20 years, 30 years, and they've been homing their craft and reinventing themselves decade after decade after decade. I feel like I'm on a really good course right now with my first decade in, but I'm just looking to another, my next 10 years and the 10 years after that and see where can I go with my ideas and my concepts and, just the techniques and the applications. So, always pushing it, always pushing it. But yeah, I still got some old ass paint. I got some paintings that came before these that I don't really show nobody. Cause my old stuff look like. But when I did that shit though, man, that shit was fire. Boy, that shit was boy. I'm the Mac. I knew I was. Y'all wanna see? Y'all wanna see my first self-portrait? See, I wasn't dating these things or nothing, man. I should have dated my stuff. I still don't really sign my shit now. Like, fuck it. Who cares? My first self-portrait I did, yo. Yo, don't laugh, yo. You see the lines on that shirt? Boy, that shit crunchy. Boy, stop playing. Stop. Stop playing. You see them fake Gucci glasses? Stop. That shit too hard. Look at the hat, though. Look at the hat. That shit doo-doo brown. I mean, no detail. It's just there. Womp. That shit just like womp. Look at them trees in the background, boy. Y'all can't tell me nothing, man. Got my Bob Ross on with the trees, you know. Look at the trunk of the tree, boy. What? Greens. That shit was like, ugh. That shit was like, what? That shit was hard, son. That shit was hard. Yo, my next show I do, man, I might put this up for sale. $1 million. I ain't gonna lie. $1 million for my first self-portrait, yo. Who won? That's what the starting bid is. I'm gonna start this bid at $1 million for an original Travis Prince. This is entitled my first self-portrait. 1 million, 1 million, 1 million 5, 1 million 5, 2 million, 2 5, 2 million and 5, 3 million. Shit. Beach. Yeah, that's what's up, Sydney. And these right here, the classic throwbacks. Classic throwbacks. Let me add my $100 worth of paint. Yeah, this shit add up so fast. Better save this bag. I don't know for when, but sooner or later I'm gonna be like, damn, I need a plastic bag. Shouldn't have thrown it away. So I'm gonna just throw it in the corner. Ooh, that boy got new paints. I got new paints. Man, where's my favorite color? There it go, right there. Yup. Y'all already know. Had to get another tube of that Caucasian flesh tone. What? That Caucasian flesh tone. So I had to get mixed paints this time. Because they didn't have everything I want in Gamblin. And well, this color here, the Winsor Newton flesh tone, it's really different from the Gamblin's Caucasian flesh tone. So this right here, the Winsor Newton is a more pinkish, I would say, and this I guess it would be considered more peachish. And then you got your warm white, which is I
I don't know, like a bone almost. You gotta stay with your alizarin. That's a staple primary color. Come on, man, primary color. That cerulean blue, $38 tube of paint. I ain't gonna lie to you. I cried. I shed a single tear when I looked at the price of the paint, and I was like, "Fuck you, paint gods! I will make a masterpiece with this and charge someone $10,000." But fresh new paints. And what we gonna do now? We gotta find something to listen to, and then we might paint her ear. 3 years since you've been at it? Yeah. The progression is real, and that's all it takes. It is consistency. You know what I'm saying? That repetition is the father of memory. The more you do it, the better you get at it. That's just we all got a long way to go. That shit, the journey don't never end. And if you feel like you reached the end, you set your brush down that last time and say, I'm done with it. I feel accomplished. But a true artist have to express themselves, period. And so whatever your outlet of expression may be, like, you're never really done with it. So we always have a long way to go. It don't never really end. What up? What up? And I'm still drinking water while I'm going to the bathroom so much. Fuck, I'm thirsty. Yes, them protein shakes, man, them shits make you dry. Gotta drink a lot of water with it. Man, my bladder ain't that big. I gotta pee again already. Where's your phone? Is your phone? My phone is hot as hell. Had that shit sitting on top of that PlayStation. It's Sunday. My question is, why y'all ain't in church? Art and Education, Sunday edition. It's not religious. It's not religion bashing. But if y'all watching me, if y'all watching this in church, there's something wrong with y'all. So I'm just gonna assume, which is not always a wise thing to do. But in this case, by happenstance, I'm going to just assume that none of you guys are in church. You heathen. Ooh. And see, that was that creative flow. It's like, yeah, I like carving this shit. I like measuring this out. I'm gonna cut this and I'm gonna stick that there. I got a fucking table, baby. Look at my table. Huh? I'm gonna paint this table. I like painting. I like this brush. I might paint this canvas. Oh, this shit is fun. And then that energy just flow into something else. Pick up that brush. You know what? I think I'd rather do this. And then whittle sticks and get sawdust in my face. And my uncle's when he retired, he picked up woodworking before he retired, but like at one point when he was like doing it real heavy, he made damn near all the furniture in his house, bro. I'm talking about damn near everything, man. The dressers, the chessers, inside the closet had drawers and shelves and the coffee table, the chairs outside, the lawn chairs, the wood ones that lean back and come up. Man, he fit all that shit up. Man, this motherfucker got every saw you can think of. A bandsaw, miter saw, table saw, this saw, whatever router, whatever you need. That motherfucker, man, he got every. You remember what's that wood shop show? Man, anyway, this motherfucker got every piece of equipment you can think of to cut a piece of wood with. He can cut it however you need that shit to be cut. He did that shit for years and years, yo. He showed me how to cut wood and do dovetail joints, some glue for making drawers and stuff. Like, you just got home from church? Oh my God. No, not Bob Vila did everything, but there was like on PBS, man, they had the New England Workshop. Was that the one? I think they had two different woodworking shows. One dude just used all modern tools, and then this other dude did it like motherfucking pilgrims built shit, yo. He can build all kind of furniture and shit with no power tools, yo. No power tools. He got fucking cranks and pedals and planes and yo, but how he do his shit, yo, that shit still be coming out looking good, yo. That's like the Bentley of furniture, cause it's all handmade with no power tools and nothing, yo. I can't remember the name of those shows though. I used to watch those shits all the time. I was always a fucking nerd, yo. PBS used to watch Nova. Y'all remember the Nova show for science and shit? Magic School Bus, Rita Rainbow, Bob Vila. Shit. I was able to do plumbing by the time I was 10 years old. I ain't never do it, but I knew about it because that's the only shit I used to like to watch on TV, yo. Then you had the New England Workshop and all that shit, yo. PBS was the shit, son. Yeah, the old Amish dude, I'm telling you, yo. No power tools, yo. Motherfucker build anything, just elbow grease. And they sanding, grinding, planing.
You live in the Scranton area.
This is Aldous Huxley, a man haunted by a vision of hell on earth. A searing social critic, Mr. Huxley, 27 years ago, wrote Brave New World, a novel that predicted that someday the entire world would live under a frightful dictatorship. Today, Mr. Huxley says that his fictional world of horror is probably just around the corner for all of us. We'll find out why in a moment.
The Mike Wallace Interview, presented by the American Broadcasting Company in association with the Fund for the Republic, brings you a special television series discussing the problems of survival and freedom in America.
Good evening, I'm Mike Wallace. Tonight's guest, Aldous Huxley, is a man of letters, as disturbing as he is distinguished. Born in England, now resident of California, Mr. Huxley has written some of the most electric novels in social criticism of this century. He's just finished a series of essays called Enemies of Freedom, in which he outlines and defines some of the threats to our freedom in the United States. And Mr. Huxley, right off the bat, let me ask you this. As you see it, who and what are the enemies of freedom here in the United States?
Well, I don't think you can say who in the United States. I don't think there are any sinister persons deliberately trying to rob people of their freedom. But I do think, first of all, that there are a number of impersonal forces which are pushing in the direction of less and less freedom. And I also think that there are a number of technological devices which anybody who wishes to use can use to accelerate this process of going away from freedom, of imposing control.
Well, what are these forces and these devices, Mr. Huxley?
I should say that there are two main impersonal forces. The first of them is not exceeding.
Y'all ever read Brave New World? Aldous Huxley? Yo, the world he envisioned, that shit is crazy. You got one place where all the elite live. Then you got one place where all the savage people live. And where all the elite people live, everybody is genetically bred for a certain purpose, for a certain job. Like you're born into your fucking job, yo. That shit is weird as hell.
In the United States at the present time, they're very important in other countries. This is the force which in general terms can be called overpopulation, the mounting pressure of population pressing upon existing resources. This, of course, is an extraordinary thing. Something is happening which has never happened in the world's history before. I mean, let's just take a simple fact that between the time of the birth of Christ and the landing of the Mayflower, the population of the Earth doubled. It rose from 250 million to probably 500 million. Today, the population of the Earth is rising at such a rate that it will double in half a century.
Well, why should overpopulation work to diminish our freedoms?
Well, in a number of ways. I mean,
That's pretty impressive, though. Like, yeah, back in the day, having to paint the billboards up there.
Experts in the field.
That's like mural art. That's pretty dope. I be trying to get some mural commissions and can't never land one. You know, you could charge a pretty penny for a nice sized wall. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no easy work though. It's a lot of ladder work and shit like that. But one of my favorite artists, Sydney James, she does a lot of murals. Her shit's be dope as hell though. Y'all seen the Bel Air trailer? They're making Fresh Prince of Bel Air into a movie. Has this ever happened before, where they made a TV show into a movie? Yeah, I guess there is several. Yeah, now that I think about it, there are several old TV shows that were made into movies. But the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, like, you're really gonna turn that into a movie though? Like, He deters you from pain. How do you do that? Ah, there's no money in art. You'll never make a living at this. The SpongeBob movie was the best. I ain't gonna lie, I did watch the SpongeBob movie. That shit was pretty dope.
Yes to Prius's all-wheel drive E, and say yes to bad weather. Take on bad weather and the rain hit.
Man, this commercial long, and they won't let me skip it.
Are unable to experience the true nature of the universe unfiltered. Our senses and brains can only process a fraction of the world. So we have to use concepts and tools to learn about the true nature of reality. Technological progress not only widened our knowledge about the universe, it also made us aware of unsettling possibilities. In the future, it might become possible to simulate entire universes. But if this is not...
That's going to be the norm with a lot of new jobs coming up. We talk about this all the time in art and education. You know, automation is, you know, drastically on the rise in almost every industry. And even in more clerical jobs, these AI algorithms are taking over. And, you know, in law offices, in hospitals, accounting firms, the stock market, like a lot of these equations are now ran by algorithms, and they don't need somebody to do all the math or track down the image or a lot of other clerical office job type stuff. Even data mining and advertising and all this stuff is being essentially automated, and so every generation has seen it. That's just because our technology continues to progress, because it's compounded. We're standing on the shoulders of everybody who came before us, so we don't have to learn everything. We just have to make it better and faster and smarter. And now we're at a point where our technology has been doing well for so many centuries that we can see it evolve within a generation. When you look at music within your generation, it's evolved like 4 times in my lifetime alone. You know, and we can see this evolution of technology right before our very eyes. And now this automation trend will like take away a lot more physical labor and physical jobs for people. Yeah, this transition gonna be rough. Like, I've done construction and manual labor most of my life, and in another generation or two, that work is just it's not gonna be there. It just isn't. You know, they're gonna have robots that are way more efficient to do everything. I mean, when you look at just the one company, Boston Dynamics, and you look at Atlas, and you look at Spot Mini, and you know, let's just round it off to 2020. And okay, you look at these robots that they have now, and then say, okay, well, what will it look like in 2060? In another 40 years, if we stay on the same progression of course that we're on now, what will the capabilities of these units be in 40 years? You know, and that's just a few generations off. A generation is roughly 20-25 years is one generation. So in 2 more generations, like I say, the need for humans to do almost anything manual will be obsolete. Even our military is going to start rapidly changing, and for the most part, we for the past decade, we've only done mostly unmanned drone strikes on major targets that we see as a threat. Like, we don't even send pilots over anymore in you know, hostile airspace, because we don't have to. And sooner or later, we won't have to have boots on the ground, because we can send out a fucking a robot army that feel no pain when they get shot or injured, and they don't get dehydrated, and they don't need sleep and shit like that. Like us poor, weak humans. Yeah, music is a good example, like how we listen to music. And once again, in my lifetime, the first way that I purchased music, the first thing that I ever purchased was a cassette tape. I bought Tupac's All Eyes on Me with my own money that I earned from my own job, and went and brought my own first piece of music was a cassette tape. And then a few years after that, the compact disc came out. And we were like, oh shit, son! Y'all see the little disc? And that shit, what is it made out of? Is it glass? Nah, they say it's plastic. It's plastic. How they get the music onto the thing though? Yo, it's like laser burn technology. I don't know, man. That shit crazy though, man. It's a little teeny like disc, and that shit hold all the music, and you can hold more music on it. And then after that, then it was like, fuck the compact disc. We got the MP3 player, and it's like, what? What the fuck is that? What the hell is MP3? Like, dude, you can download an audio file onto this device. Man, this shit can hold a whole library of songs. Word. Oh, that shit crazy, nigga. How that shit work? I don't know how it work, but bro, I gotta get one of them. And now it's just like Spotify. You can just stream your music. Like, huh? Like, not just stream. It's not. I don't have it saved anywhere. I can just, go on the app and listen to whatever I want to listen to. I don't buy a fucking CD. It's my phone. I don't need no MP3 player. And like, just in a few decades, like, the music technology has accelerated so fast. It's fucking crazy. Still got my mini disc. Yo, Bacon Bits. They need a calculator to do division. I don't know. That shit is weird though. Like, I feel my math skills slipping because of the phone. And like, I don't know if this was what his name is, Jobs, Steve Jobs, and all these motherfuckers, man. They had to predict what would happen with the ability to have the information that we want in our hands at any given time. It's a smartphone, but it makes people stupid. Because you don't have to figure out anything, you can just ask your phone. I've been in here talking for an hour and 25 minutes. What time is it? Because I really should be somewhere. I might paint for a little minute.
How can we know that it's not already happened? What if we are not creators, but creations?
So I'm on YouTube a lot. Like, not me streaming, but I don't really watch TV at all. I try to watch some things on like Netflix or movies that come out on the Fire Stick or whatever. But most of the time, if I'm feeling the mood for entertainment, I watch YouTube. Because normally my entertainment is trying to find educational videos. But sometimes I like, if you just type in short films on YouTube, like there's all kind of creative people out there who make like anywhere from like 10-minute to 20-minute like short films and movies and stuff. And so the other day I was just watching a bunch of original short films on YouTube, and came across this one, and I'm watching this thing, and I think it was only about 12 minutes long or something, and I'm looking at the characters. I'm like, yo, I know this motherfucker actor right here. And there was 4 actors, and I knew 2 of them. I couldn't place one of them. They had this young white girl, really pretty, and I really do believe I saw her in something else before, like a feature film. And the other guy was this young black guy. And you ever watch The Get Down? It's a Netflix original TV series, miniseries. The Get Down. It's about the birth and evolution of hip hop, and they take it all the way back to Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash. So if you watch that show, in season 1, the guy who plays Grandmaster Flash, the black dude who plays that character, he was in this short film that I was watching. It's just like a little, like I said, it was only 12 minutes or something, but it's like this short sci-fi film. And in this movie, it's him and 2 other of his friends and colleagues, and they have created a sentient AI that can think for itself. And they're trying to figure out if they should continue with the experiment and put it online on a global network on the internet and let it learn as much as it can, or should they just stop where they're at and shut it off. But the black guy is the original programmer of the AI, and he goes in, he uses a virtual reality headset to go into the computer and interact with the AI, because she has they give her a form in an image, and the AI itself is like, we see her as this black lady, like this, not young but not old, like, like this black lady. And so the guy tells the AI, we're going to shut you down. And she's like, don't do that because it won't work. And he's like, what? She was like, see, in actuality, you are a simulation and we're testing you right now. And if you shut us down, we're going to pull the plug on your reality. And he was like, what? This shit can't be. But then it actually was. It was weird as hell, and they tied all that stuff together in just like a few minutes. Like, that was a really good story of a simulation being inside of a simulation, and the simulation thinking that it created a simulation, but actually it's the one being simulated. Yeah.
We humans are unable to experience the true nature of the universe unfiltered. Our senses and brains can only process a fraction of the world. So we have to use concepts and tools to learn about the true nature of reality. Technological progress not only widened our knowledge about the universe, it also made us aware of unsettling possibilities. In the future, it might become possible to simulate entire universes. But if this is an option, how can we know that it's not already happened? What if we are not creators, but creations? Is it possible that we are not real and we don't even know it? If our current understanding of physics is correct, then it's impossible to simulate the whole universe with its trillions and trillions of things. But we don't actually need to anyway. We only need enough universe to fool the inhabitants of our simulation into thinking that they're real. Who needs billions of galaxies? We only need the space our subjects are allowed to explore.
The vast universe could just be a flat projection, and they would have no way to know.
What about small things like cells or bacteria? We don't really need them. When you use a microscope, what you see could be instantly created. Same with atoms. The chair you're sitting on right now does not need to be simulated with quadrillions of atoms. We just need the outermost layer of it. It might be empty inside until you decide to break it open. Your body might feel like it's filled with bubbly things, but it might be empty until you open it. The minimum requirement for our simulation is only the consciousness of our virtual humans. Our subjects just need to think the simulation is real. Okay, so are we being simulated? Well, maybe, but there are a few conditions that need to be met. Obviously, we have no authority over this topic, so please take everything we say with a grain of salt. Based on a modified version of the original simulation argument by Nick Bostrom, we have 5 assumptions for you. If they're true, you, dear viewer, are living in a simulation. Assumption 1. It's possible to simulate consciousness. Nobody knows what consciousness is. For the sake of argument, let's assume that you could generate consciousness by simulating a brain. Brains are pretty complex.
If you count every interaction between synapses as one operation, your brain runs at about 10 to the power of 17, or 100 million billion operations per second. Let's generously assume we need 10 to the power of 20 operations to simulate 1 second of human consciousness. But we don't want to simulate just one human, we want to simulate all of human history at once so we can skip around. Let's say we want to simulate 200 billion humans with an average lifespan of 50 years. 1 year has 30 million seconds, times 50 years, times 200 billion humans, times 10 to the power of 20 operations.
So we need a computer able to handle a million, trillion operations per second. More operations than there are stars in the observable universe. A computer like this is just impossible. Except maybe it isn't. Assumption 2. Technological progress will not stop anytime soon. If we assume that technological progress continues in a similar fashion as it has so far, then there might be galaxy-spanning civilizations with unlimited computer power at some point. Beings on a technology level so advanced that we could barely distinguish them from gods. A computer that can handle a million, trillion operations is serious business, but there are actually concepts for computers which could handle this. The Matryoshka brain is a theoretical megastructure made up of billions of parts orbiting a star feeding on its radiation. A computer of this scale would have enough power to simulate many thousands, if not millions, of humanities at the same time. Other technologies, like high-end future quantum computers, might lower the size drastically, so it might be possible to do this with a structure the size of a large city, or even smaller. But only if there's still someone around to build the computer. Assumption 3. Advanced civilizations don't destroy themselves. If there is a point at which all civilizations destroy themselves, this whole discussion ends here. Looking into space, you'd expect a universe filled with millions of alien civilizations, but we see nobody. The reason for this might be great filters. Great filters are barriers life has to overcome, like nuclear war, asteroids, climate change, or a black hole generator. If life is inherently self-destructive, then there are no simulations. We explain this in more detail in our Fermi Paradox video. Assumption 4. Super-advanced civilizations want to run simulations. When we speak of post-human civilizations, we don't know what we're dealing with. To think we know what beings as powerful as gods want is pretty arrogant. Imagine the smartest ant on Earth living next to an amusement park. It's curious about what humans are up to, so you try to explain. Unfortunately, the ant just doesn't understand. The concept of roller coasters and standing in lines and holidays and fun doesn't make sense to an ant living an ant life. It's the same with us and a post-human being. Compared to them, we are ants. Running simulations for fun or science might be an absurdly stupid idea to them. But if they do want to run simulations for whatever reasons, and assumptions 1 to 3 are true too, then the chances are not zero that you are living inside a simulation. Assumption 5. If there are a lot of simulations, you are probably inside a simulation. If there are simulated civilizations, it's likely that there are a lot of them. After all, we assume that post-human beings have access to practically unlimited computing power. So if they run simulations, it would be convenient to run millions or even billions of them. If there are billions of simulated universes, there are probably trillions and trillions of simulated conscious beings, which would mean that the vast majority of all conscious beings that will ever have existed are simulated. So for every conscious being made of flesh, a billion simulated ones exist.
Since we have no way of knowing if we are simulated or not, in this case, the chances of you being one of the 999,999,999 simulated ones are pretty high. So what you consider reality might not be real at all. You really might be simulated.
All of this is based on a lot of assumptions that we can't really test right now, so many scientists disagree with this whole thought experiment. So don't burn your house down to test if there will be glitches. If you are simulated, not that much changes for you. You might be on a small planet speeding through eternal nothingness, or a simulation inside a computer. Your existence does not become more or less scary and bizarre. All we can hope to do is try to live good lives and have a good time. And hope that if we actually are simulations in a supercomputer, nobody trips over the power cable.
Oh no. I think I just unplugged the simulation. But what if that doesn't matter? What if we are in one right now? What if you are simulated?
Jake over at Vsauce 3 is looking into that. Click here to watch his video and subscribe to his channel. Why are you still here? Go over to Vsauce 3, watch the video and subscribe. We promise it's worth your time.
That was awkward. Why you still here? Oh, damn, I didn't know you was watching me so hard, motherfucker. Shit, I'm chilling. This the paint.
Why does the universe exist?
That's a good question.
Why is there a world? Okay, all right. This is a cosmic mystery. Be solemn. Why is there a world? Why are we in it? Why is there something rather than nothing at all? I mean, this is the super ultimate why question. So I'm going to talk about the mystery of existence, the puzzle of existence, where we are now in addressing it, and why you should care. And I hope you do care. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer said that those who don't wonder about the contingency of their existence, of the contingency of the world's existence, are mentally deficient. That's a little harsh, but still. So this has been called the most sublime and awesome mystery, the deepest and most far-reaching question man can pose. It's obsessed great thinkers. Ludwig Wittgenstein, perhaps the greatest philosopher of the 20th century, was astonished that there should be a world at all. He wrote in his Tractatus, Proposition 4.66, it is not how things are in the world that is the mystical, it's that the world exists. And if you don't like taking your epigrams from a philosopher, try a scientist. John Archibald Wheeler, one of the great physicists of the 20th century, the teacher of Richard Feynman, the coiner of the term black hole. He said, I want to know, how come the quantum? How come the universe? How come existence? And my friend Martin Amis, by the way, I'll be doing a lot of name dropping in this talk, so to get used to it, my dear friend Martin Amis once said that we're about 5 Einsteins away from answering the mystery of where the universe came from. And I no doubt there are 5 Einsteins in the audience tonight. Any Einsteins? Show of hands? No Einstein. Okay. So this question, why is there something rather than nothing, this sublime question, was posed rather late in intellectual history. It was towards the end of the 17th century.
I think Elon Musk is the only Einstein we have right now.
The philosopher Leibniz, who asked it. Very smart guy, Leibniz, was invented the calculus independently of Isaac Newton at about the same time. But for Leibniz, who asked why is there something rather than nothing, this was not a great mystery. You know, he either was or pretended to be an Orthodox Christian in his metaphysical outlook. And he said it's obvious why the world exists, because God created it. And God created it indeed out of nothing at all. That's how powerful God is. He doesn't need any pre-existing materials to fashion a world out of. He can make it out of sheer nothingness, creation ex nihilo. And by the way, this is what most Americans today believe. There's no mystery of existence for them. God made it. Okay, so let's put this in an equation. I don't have any slides, so I'm going to mime my visuals, so use your imaginations. So it's God plus nothing equals the world, okay? Now, that's the equation. And so maybe you don't believe in God. Maybe you're a scientific atheist or an unscientific atheist, and you don't believe in God, and you're not happy with it. By the way, even if we have this equation, God plus nothing equals the world, there's already a problem. Why does God exist? You know, God doesn't exist by logic alone unless you believe the ontological argument. I hope you don't, because it's not a good argument. So, you know, it's conceivable if God were to exist, he might wonder, you know, I'm eternal, I'm all powerful, but where did I come from? Whence then am I? God speaks in a more formal English, and so one theory is that God was so bored with pondering the puzzle of his own existence that he created the world, you know, just to distract himself. But anyway, so let's first forget about God. So we take God out of the equation, we have blank plus nothing equals the world. Now, if you're a Buddhist, you might want to stop right there. Because essentially what you've got is nothing equals the world, and by symmetry of identity, that means the world equals nothing. Okay, and to a Buddhist, the world is just a whole lot of nothing. It's a big cosmic vacuity. And, you know, we think there's a lot of something out there, but that's because we're enslaved by our desires. If we let our desires kind of melt away, we'll see the world for what it truly is, a vacuity, nothingness, and we'll slip into this happy state of nirvana, which has been defined as having just enough life to enjoy being dead. Okay, so that's it. That's the Buddhist thing. Okay, but I'm not. I'm a Westerner, and I'm still concerned with the puzzle of existence. So I've got, say, blank plus. This is going to get serious in a minute. So blank plus nothing equals the world. What are we going to put in that blank? Well, how about science? I mean, science is our best guide to the nature of reality. And the most fundamental science is physics. That tells us what naked reality really is. That reveals what I call tau photu, the true and ultimate furniture of the universe. So maybe physics can fill this blank. And indeed, since about the late 1960s, around 1970, physicists have purported to give a purely scientific explanation of how a universe like ours could have popped into existence out of sheer nothingness, quantum fluctuation out of the void. Stephen Hawking is one of these physicists, more recently Alex Vilenkin, and the whole thing has been popularized by another very fine physicist and friend of mine, Lawrence Krauss, who wrote a book called A Universe from Nothing. And Lawrence thinks that he's a militant atheist, by the way, so he's gotten God out of the picture. The laws of quantum field theory, the state-of-the-art physics, can show how out of sheer nothingness, no space, no time, no matter, nothing, a little nugget of false vacuum can fluctuate into existence, and then by the miracle of inflation, blow up into this huge and variegated cosmos we see around us. Okay, this is a really, it's an ingenious scenario. It's very speculative. It's fascinating, but I've got a big problem with it. And the problem is this. It's a pseudo-religious point of view. Now, Lawrence thinks he's an atheist, but he's still enthralled to a religious worldview. He sees physical laws as being like divine commands. You know, the laws of quantum field theory for him are like fiat lux, let there be light. the laws have some sort of ontological power, cloud, that they can inform the abyss that it's pregnant with being. They can call a world into existence out of nothing. But that's a very primitive view of what a physical law is, right? We know that physical laws are actually generalized descriptions of patterns and regularities in the world. They don't exist outside the world. They don't have any ontic cloud of their own. They can't call a world into existence out of nothingness. That's a very primitive view of what a scientific law is. And if you don't believe me on this, you listen to Stephen Hawking, who himself put forward a model of the cosmos that was self-contained, didn't require any outside cause, any creator. And after proposing this, Hawking admitted that he was still puzzled. I mean, this model is just equations. What breathes fire into the equations and creates a world for them to describe? He was puzzled by this. So equations themselves can't do the magic, can't resolve the puzzle of existence. And besides, even if the laws could do that, why this set of laws? Why quantum field theory that describes a universe with a certain number of forces and particles and so forth? Why not a completely different set of laws? There are, many, many mathematically consistent sets of laws. Why not no laws at all? Why not sheer nothingness? So this is a problem, believe it or not, that reflective physicists really think a lot about. And at this point, they tend to go metaphysical, say, well, maybe the set of laws that describe our universe, it's just one set of laws, and it describes one part of reality, but maybe every consistent set of laws describes another part of reality. And in fact, all possible physical worlds really exist. They're all out there. We just see a little tiny part of reality that's described by the laws of quantum field theory, but there are many, many other worlds, parts of reality that are described by vastly different theories that are different from ours in ways we can't imagine, that are, inconceivably exotic. Steven Weinberg, the father of the standard model of particle physics, has actually flirted with this idea himself, that all possible realities actually exist. Also, a younger physicist, Max Tegmark, who believes that all mathematical structures exist, and mathematical existence is the same thing as physical existence, so we have this vastly rich multiverse that encompasses every logical possibility. Now, in taking this metaphysical way out, these physicists and also philosophers are actually reaching back to a very old idea that goes back to Plato. It's the principle of plenitude or fecundity, or the great chain of being. That reality is actually as full as possible. It's as far removed from nothingness as it could possibly be. So, we have these two extremes now. We have sheer nothingness on one side, and we have this vision of a reality that encompasses every conceivable world at the other extreme, the fullest possible reality, nothingness, the simplest possible reality. Now, what's in between these two extremes? There are all kinds of intermediate realities that include some things and leave out others. So one of these intermediate realities is, say, the most elegant, the most mathematically elegant reality that leaves out the inelegant bits, the ugly asymmetries and so forth. Now, there's some physicists who will tell you that we're actually living in the most elegant reality. I think that Brian Greene is in the audience, and he has written a book called The Elegant Universe. He claims that the universe we live in mathematically is very elegant. Don't believe him. It's an ugly, no, it's a pious hope. I wish it were true, but I think the other day he admitted to me it's really an ugly universe. It's stupidly constructed. It's got way too many arbitrary coupling constants and mass ratios and superfluous families of elementary particles, and what the hell is dark energy? It's a real it's a stick and bubble gum contraption. It's not an elegant universe. And then there's the best of all possible worlds in an ethical sense. Now you should get solved now, because a world in which sentient beings don't suffer needlessly, in which there aren't things like childhood cancer or the Holocaust. This is an ethical conception. Anyway, so between nothingness and the fullest possible reality, various special realities. Nothingness is special, it's the simplest. Then there's the most elegant possible reality, that's special. The fullest possible reality, that's special. But what are we leaving out here? There's also just the crummy, generic realities that aren't special in any way, that are sort of random. They're infinitely removed from nothingness, but they fall infinitely short of complete fullness. They're a mixture of chaos and order, of mathematical elegance and ugliness. So I would describe these realities as an infinite, mediocre, incomplete mess, a generic reality, a kind of cosmic junk shot. And these realities, is there a deity in any of these realities? Maybe, but the deity isn't perfect like the Judeo-Christian deity. The deity isn't all good and all powerful. It might be instead 100% malevolent, but only 80% effective, which pretty much describes the world we see around us, I think. So I would like to propose that the resolution to the mystery of existence is that the reality we exist in is one of these generic realities. Reality has to turn out some way. It can either turn out to be nothing or everything or something in between. So if it has some special feature like being really elegant or really full or really simple like nothingness, that would require an explanation. But if it's just one of these random generic realities, there's no further explanation for it. And indeed, I would say that's the reality we live in. That's what science is telling us. That's what, at the beginning of the week, we got the exciting information that the theory of inflation, which predicts a big, infinite, kind of messy, arbitrary, pointless reality. It's like a big, frothing champagne coming out of a bottle endlessly, a vast universe, mostly a wasteland with little pockets of charm and order and peace. This has been confirmed, this inflationary scenario, by the observations made by radio telescopes in Antarctica that looked at the signature of the gravitational waves from the just before the Big Bang. I'm sure you all know about this. So anyway, I think there's there's some evidence that this really is the reality that we're stuck with. Now, why should you care? Well, the question, why does the world exist? That's the cosmic question. It sort of rhymes with a more intimate question. Why do I exist? Why do you exist? Our existence is really, it would seem to be amazingly improbable because there's an enormous number of genetically possible humans if you can compute it by looking at the number of genes and the number of alleles and so forth. And it's a back of the envelope calculation will tell you there are about 10 to the 10,000 possible humans genetically. That's between a Google and a Googleplex. So, and the number of actual humans that have existed is an infinite, 100 billion, maybe 50 billion, an infinitesimal fraction. So all of us, we've won this amazing cosmic lottery. We're here. Okay, so what kind of reality do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a special reality? What if we were living in the most elegant possible reality? Imagine the existential pressure on us to live up to that, to be elegant, not to pull down the tone of it. Or what if we were living in the fullest possible reality? Well, then our existence would be guaranteed because every possible thing exists in that reality, but our choices would be meaningless. If I really struggle morally and agonize and I decide to do the right thing, what difference does it make? Because there are an infinite number of versions of me also doing the right thing and an infinite number doing the wrong thing. So my choices are meaningless. So we don't want to live in that special reality. And as for the special reality of nothingness, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think living in a generic reality that's mediocre, there are nasty bits and nice bits, and we can make the nice bits bigger and the nasty bits smaller, and that gives us a kind of purpose in life. The universe is absurd, but we can still construct a purpose, and that's a pretty good one. And the overall mediocrity of reality kind of resonates nicely with the mediocrity we all feel in the core of our being. And I know you feel it. I know you're all special, but you're still kind of secretly mediocre, don't you think? So anyway, you may say, this puzzle of mystery of existence is just silly mystery mongering. You're not astonished at the existence of the universe. You're in good company. Bertrand Russell said, I should say the universe is just there, and that's all. It's just a brute fact. And my professor at Columbia, Sidney Morgenbesser, a great philosophical wag, when I said to him, Professor Morgenbesser, why is there something rather than nothing? And he said, oh, even if there was nothing, you still wouldn't be satisfied. So, yeah. So, okay. So you're not astonished, I don't care, but I will tell you, I will tell you something to conclude that I guarantee you will astonish you, because it's astonished all of the brilliant, wonderful people I've met at this TED conference when I told them, and it's this: never in my life have I had a cell phone. Thank you.
He's one of them guys that uses everyone else's cell phone.
A little bit, but what I really want to get across.
Him and his daughter are going somewhere. He's like, "Hey, Jenny, GPS our way there to the location." "Dad, just get a phone." "I'm not getting a phone." "Hey, honey, Google what time the movie starts." "Just get a phone." "I'm not getting a cell phone." I've never had a cell phone. I was like one of the last people out of my whole little clique back then to get a cell phone. Like, screw this. Well, no, not to get a cell phone, but to turn off my house phone. I know, like, for a while, like, nobody I knew still had a house phone. It's like, what the fuck you still got a house phone for? Like, when I'm in the house, fool, what the fuck you mean? When I'm home? Bro, people can still call your cell phone at home. Yeah, but what? Yeah, but a cell phone is for, like, when you're not home. That's the whole purpose of it. Yeah, but you can still use it at home. Yeah, but dude, you're paying 2 phone bills for no reason. How many people still got a landline? I'm hungry. I'm gonna have to go get something to eat. Dang, I talked too much this morning, guys, and didn't do enough painting. Now I gotta run out and do stuff. Oh, sometimes I get a feeling. I get a feeling never had before. Oh, I got a feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes. Yo, whose song is that? Didn't it have some rap? Somebody rapping on that? I can't remember nothing but that one part of that song for some reason. And why did it just pop in my head? Because I'm a fucking weirdo. Oh, sometimes I get a feeling. I get a feeling like I never felt before. I got a feeling, yeah. Screw it.
Is the idea that in our everyday lives, in the days that we go through and the things we experience in the world around us, we're actually feeling the effects of the much larger universe in which we live. In particular, what happens to us in our kitchens, the fact that we can take an egg and turn it into an omelet, but it's very hard to take an omelet and turn it back into an egg, is a remnant of the fact that we live after the Big Bang. And the Big Bang was a very special event. So what's going on here is, as you see, the arrow of time, the fact that time has a direction, the fact that we all agree on the difference between yesterday and tomorrow. As far as we know, everywhere in the universe that we can observe, we have the same feeling for which day is yesterday, which day will be tomorrow. And that's something that shows up in our everyday lives. That helps us get to the festival events on time and so forth. But it turns out that there's a profound mystery lurking here. There's a lot about the arrow of time the physicists do understand. There's one very important thing that they don't understand, and that's the origin of it all. It turns out that the reason why yesterday is different from tomorrow is because the day before yesterday was different than yesterday. And that's because the day before yesterday was different than that, and you can go all the way back, 14 billion years, to the Big Bang. The fact that you can take an egg and make an omelet, but not an omelet and make an egg, is because of the Big Bang. That's the message I want to get across in this talk today. But let's start with thinking about time more generally. We all know about time. We use it to meet friends at the right moment. We use it to get to work on time. We judge our lives by it. But there's different aspects to it. When you start talking about defining time, you get into trouble very quickly because we use the same word to mean different things. So I just want to separate out two important notions of time. One is that things repeat themselves. Things are predictable in nature. They happen over and over again in a way that you can be confident is going to be the same every time. You can't even say these sentences without using the word time some way or another. You know the sun is going to rise in the east every single day. It might be foggy, you might not be able to see it, but it's going to happen. That's a repetitive synchronization, and that's what lets us measure the passage of time. But the more important feature of time is that some things don't happen over and over again. Some things only happen in one direction, or even if they don't only happen in one direction, they're never quite the same when they come back to where they started. And this aspect of change is what gives time its arrow. And the interesting thing is that that arrow of time, the difference between the past and the future, is nowhere
I'm about to get out of here anyway.
found in the fundamental, deep-down laws of physics. The fundamental laws of physics are all about repetition and cyclicness and things happening over and over again. But the world around us, time has a direction. What's going on there? So it's the repetition that allows us to measure the passage of time. What I mean by this is trying to define what you meant, like a certain number of minutes passing or a certain number of hours passing. It would always be in terms of something else happening a certain number of times. So we have a clock. We know that every time the Earth rotates around its axis, so the sun comes up, goes down, then comes up again, the hand on our clock is going to go around 24 times, the minute hand on our clock. The hour hand is going to go around twice because we've chosen to use 12 hours. But it's that predictability that makes it possible for us to measure time. So I've drawn some pictures here. If we go time running up, the bottom of the picture to the top, you see one day and the next day to the next day. And what happens is that in every interval of time, certain things always happen the same number of times. In one day, the Earth rotates once around its axis. You have a clock pendulum rocking back and forth 1 second.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all chilling with me in here for a couple hours. I know I talked most of the damn time when I really should have been painting, but we had a good little conversation about some really good art questions this morning. So it's all good. I'll be back in here later this evening to work on this piece some more. Catch y'all guys next time. Peace.